So we had this land forestry mulch because we got a grant from Farmer Veteran Coalition. And I marked some of the trees so that they wouldn't take them out, just because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do or what trees I really wanted to take. And so now that it's all over with, I decided that there are some trees that I want to take down, and I took some of them down. I'm going to take a couple more here today, and I'm just going to remove all this stuff out of here so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm using the grapple on my Kioti CK2610, and I'm using my Stihl MS250 chainsaw just to kind of cut up these logs and just get all this stuff removed out of here. So what I have here is a couple of different piles of logs and debris and stuff that I stack up. It gets a lot of sun here, so this stuff should dry up really quickly. And what I really like to do in the winter time is make massive fires. So once this stuff dries out, or I'll just pile it up and then it dries out and then I light it on fire in the winter time. But it's really good for a social event. You invite all your friends and family over and just, you know, have a few drinks around the fire. It's always a good time. So that's one of the methods that I'm using here to kind of get rid of all this debris. Sorry about that. One of the methods is when I make my piles of brush is I stack all the tops of the trees and all the smaller stuff in a pile, and then I take the bigger logs and I just chuck them on top. And that kind of compresses everything and makes a nice good bundle for everything to light up later on when it dries. So what I'm doing here is I have some of the oak and the maple logs that I cut from these trees, and this makes really good firewood. So I'm going to move it over to my firewood processing area so I can get these bucked up into little firewood rounds and get them split and let them dry out so I can use them in the wood stove in the basement. I think it looks a lot better than it did, that's for sure. I still have some stumps that I got to take care of, but I'm going to wait till I have my stump grinder attached to the tractor, and then I'll go ahead and I'll cut those stumps down as low as I can go, and in another video I'll grind up those stumps. I'm really looking forward to this land back here turning into pasture. We had it forestry mulch because of a grant that we got from the Farmer Veteran Coalition. Super thankful for that. They paid for a company, Fisher Land Management, to come out here and actually forestry mulch this for us. We have a video on that, and now I'm just trying to kind of take care of it and make sure it turns into what we want it to turn into, which is going to be pasture for us to raise more meat birds on. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, all the things. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next video.